All right, today we're jumping into a work that, well, it doesn't just hold one mirror up to the human soul, it holds up two. We're talking about William Blake's absolutely revolutionary collection, Songs of Innocence and of Experience.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we got to get a handle on his big idea, the two contrary states. Then we'll take a walk through the world of innocence, and then step into the much darker world of experience. After that, we'll look at maybe his two most iconic poems, The Lamb and the Tiger, to see how it all comes together. And finally, we'll talk about what made Blake just so radical for his time.
Okay, let's dive right in with Blake's foundational idea. You really can't understand any one of these poems in isolation. You have to see the bigger picture first, the framework that holds this whole amazing collection together.
And this question, it just hangs over the entire collection, doesn't it? How can these two things exist at the same time from the same creator? Blake isn't really looking for a simple answer here. He wants you to feel that question, to really grapple with the paradox. That tension, that's the engine driving everything.
And this is the absolute key takeaway. We tend to think of this as just, childhood versus adulthood, but that's not what Blake is doing. For him, innocence and experience are two totally different ways of seeing the world, two lenses you can look through at any point in your life. And get this, he thinks you need both. As he famously said, without contraries is no progression. You can't move forward without them.
All right, so let's start with that first state, innocence. Think of this as Blake's vision of the world in its ideal form, a place of total harmony where the spiritual and the imaginative are one and the same.
So what does innocence feel like? Well, it's this deep, almost mystical connection to everything. It's being able to see something divine in the simplest things, like a blade of grass. It's about trusting without a second thought and feeling this real sense of shared joy with everyone around you. And for Blake, imagination in this state isn't just make-believe. It's a way of seeing what's really there, a deeper truth.
You see this so clearly in his poem, The Lamb. The speaker is a child, right? And he's not wrestling with some big, complicated theology. It's simple for him. He looks at this gentle little lamb and just knows. He sees a direct line from the lamb to a loving creator who is also like a child. The whole universe feels benevolent and kind. It all just makes sense.
And it's not just a personal, internal thing either. In a poem like Nurse's Song, Blake makes it clear that innocence is social, it's communal. It's that feeling of freedom, of children just playing on the grass. Their joy totally natural and unforced. It's beautiful. But you can feel that something is about to change. That control, it's right around the corner.
And here it is, the world of experience. It's always there, lurking. And in this state, the harmony of innocence isn't just something you grow out of. No, it's actively stamped out. It's crushed by the big institutions, by all the rules of society, and by plain old fear.
Okay, let's look at a powerful example, the chimney sweeper. In the version from Songs of Innocence, you have this poor kid who's been sold into this absolutely brutal life. And what keeps him going? A dream. An angel tells him, hey, just be a good boy, do your duty, and don't worry, you'll get your reward in heaven. It's religion as a kind of pacifier, a beautiful illusion that keeps people from questioning their suffering.
But then you flip the page to the experience version, and wow, the shift is just brutal. The dream is gone. The hope is gone. Now the child is angry. He's not looking to the heavens. He's pointing his finger right at his parents, at the church, at the king. He accuses them of creating a heaven of our misery. Experience just rips that comforting blanket away and shows you the cold, hard injustice.
And listen to the language here. It's just devastating. That little uniform he wears, it's not a sign of work anymore. It's the clothes of death. The songs he's taught to sing, not happy tunes, but the notes of woe. This is what experience does. It gives a voice, a powerful, angry voice, to the suffering that innocence could only try to escape through dreams.
And Blake doesn't stop with just one kid. His critique gets bigger, it expands to cover an entire city. In his poem, London, it's like we're walking the streets with him, and he sees misery on every face. But the most powerful part is that he says the chains holding everyone down aren't real physical chains. They're mind-forged manacles. Chains made of fear, of rules, of oppression, all forged by the very institutions, the church, the state, that are supposed to be helping people.
So all this critique, this vision of a fallen, corrupt world, it all leads us to the symbolic core of the whole collection. This is it, the big confrontation with the two-sided nature of creation itself.
You've got these two poems, and they're like perfect mirror images of each other. The Lamb is pure innocence. It gives you a creator that's gentle, loving, almost like a friend. But the tiger, that's the creator seen through the eyes of experience. It's this vision of immense, terrifying, almost industrial power. It's not a song. It's a series of urgent, breathless questions being hammered out in some kind of cosmic factory. And that brings us to the question. Did he who made the lamb make thee? This is the heart of it all. And the genius of Blake is that he doesn't give you an answer. He just asks the question and leaves you there, staring into the tiger's burning eyes, forcing you to hold these two impossible ideas in your head at the same time. He wants us to live with the mystery.
So, you take this refusal to give easy answers, and you combine it with his relentless, biting critique of society, and what you get is a truly radical figure. I mean, even when you compare him to the other famous romantics, Blake really stands out.
You can really see this when you put him side by side with someone like William Wordsworth. Now, Wordsworth was totally swept up in the excitement of the French Revolution at first, but when things got ugly with the Reign of Terror, he backed away, got disillusioned, and ended up much more conservative. Blake? He never backed down. His critique of power, of the church, of the state, it was absolutely consistent his entire life.
And this comfort Blake has with mystery, it actually has a name. Another great romantic poet, John Keats, called it negative capability. It's this idea that real artistic power comes from being able to exist in a state of uncertainty, of mystery, of doubt, without desperately needing to find a neat, tidy answer. Blake's poem, The Tiger, is maybe the greatest example of negative capability in all of English literature. The power isn't in finding an answer. The power is in the question itself.
So, what's the end game here? Where is Blake trying to lead us? Well, the point isn't to try and go back to innocence. You can't. That door is closed. The real goal is to push through experience to a new state, what some people call a higher innocence. It's a way of being where you can hold both of these opposites in your mind at the same time. You get to keep the visionary imagination of innocence, but now it's fused with the critical, worldly awareness of experience.
And that's really the final challenge Blake leaves us with. He doesn't wrap it all up with a bow. He just gives us the tools, right? The lens of innocence and the lens of experience. And he challenges us, the readers, to learn how to look through both at the same time. The goal isn't to choose one over the other. It's to hold that tension, to live in that uncomfortable space between them. Because it's only there, in that dynamic opposition, that we can start to see the human soul for what it is, in all its fearful and all its beautiful symmetry.